This is Brian Colberubius. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into Google Meet. This tutorial is for users with Google Enterprise. That includes education accounts. So this information is great for business users and teachers. Start by logging into your Google account, then click on the app launcher in the upper right hand corner and select Google Meet. Or you can visit meet.google.com. From the Google Meet page, click the Join or Start a Meeting link. From this window, you can enter an optional nickname. The nickname is a way to assign a common name to a meeting. This name is unique within your organization. If two people enter the same meeting nickname, they will both join the same meeting. The space I have in the name is going to be ignored. So Meet space demo is the same as Meet demo with no space. The first time you join a meeting, Google will prompt you for permissions to use your microphone and camera. Make sure you click allow on this. We're now about to start the meeting, but before we join, we're going to take a closer look at the audio and camera settings. In the center of the screen, find the triple dot button and click this to find the settings. From this window, you're going to find settings for your microphone and your speakers. Depending on your computer setup, you may have multiple microphones available. Modern document cameras might have a microphone. If you have a headset, that will. A laptop will probably have a built-in microphone as well. So from this microphone dropdown, you may have different options. You can test your microphone by looking at the movement of these bars. If you see movement, that's how you know that your microphone is being picked up. The same goes for your speakers. Depending on your setup, if you're connected to some sort of a display screen, that might have speakers as well. Under video, you will find your camera options. You may have multiple cameras available. A laptop web camera, a document camera can work as a camera in Google Meet. Of course, you could always have an external web camera. The resolution settings allow you to control how much bandwidth you're using to send and receive video within Google Meet. The send resolution can be high definition or standard. The send resolution is the quality of video coming from your camera to your participants. The receive settings help limit the quality of the videos coming from other participants in the meeting. That way, if you're in a larger meeting, you don't have to get high resolution video from many people. You can even choose to only see the current active speaker or just listen to audio if you're struggling with internet bandwidth. After audio and video is set up, you can close this window. When you're ready to launch our meeting, click the Join Now button to continue. When the meeting starts, Google Meet will prompt you to add others to your meeting. This screen includes a link to join the meeting as well as a phone number to call in. Click the Copy Joining Info link. This will copy the link and the phone number to your clipboard. That way you can more easily send it to somebody in an email. Now let's add somebody to our meeting. If the person you want to add is part of your organization, you can type in their name or email to find them. Click the name and add them to the invite. People in your contacts will also show up when you type in their name or email. Google Contacts is part of the G Suite platform. It's commonly used as part of Gmail to help manage the people that you commonly reach out to, but it's also integrated with Google Meets, so you're able to look up users by their name or email to invite them to a Google Meet as well. If you're a workplace user, you can also invite people by calling them. The call will be placed, and when they receive the call, it'll show no caller ID. After you've entered all of your participants, click the Send Email button to continue. You can invite people to a Google Meet by using the Google Calendar. From your calendar, create a new event. Give it a title, and then begin by inviting people to your event. You can invite anybody who has a Google account. That could be somebody in your organization or somebody outside of your organization. Then click this button to add a meet to this event. This will generate a link. It will include a phone number and a website for people to join your meeting. Now let's click on the More Options link. From here, you have the expanded options for your meeting. You can scroll down and click on this paperclip icon. This will allow you to add an attachment to your meeting. From here, you can upload a file from your computer, or you can attach something from your Google Drive. Anyone you have added as a guest to your meeting will be considered invited. From here, click Save to save your changes. I've shown you how to create a meet and then how to schedule a meet. Let's talk a moment about who is able to join your meets. By default, people from your organization who are signed into their Google accounts can join without asking for permission. People outside of your organization who are invited can automatically join your meeting if they're logged into the Google account. This could be a personal Gmail account or a different school district account. Uninvited people outside your school district can ask to join your meeting, but they have to be logged into a Google account. Anonymous users cannot join a meeting. By anonymous, I mean they are either not logged into Google or they're using an incognito browser. Educational customers can ask Google for an exception to allow anonymous users, but that kind of sounds like an awful idea. It would allow anybody to join your meetings. Now that you have created your Meet and or scheduled it, let's take a look at how to run a Google Meet as the meeting organizer. Once you're inside your meeting, you can still find the joining info. In the bottom left-hand corner, click the name of your Meet, then click the Copy Joining Info link. Host controls are available for education users. You can find host controls by clicking on the shield icon next to the meeting details. These features allow you to limit how much control your participants have in the meeting. Quick access forces everyone to ask permission to join your meeting, including people in your own organization. Share their screen allows you to enable or disable the ability for your participants to share their own screen. With the chat option, you're able to prevent participants from sending text chats to each other in Google Meet. Now we'll look at how participants can join your meeting. If you invited them using Google Calendar, then they will see a listing for this meeting on their Google Meet home that they can just click on to join. Very convenient. Another option is if you enter in a code or a nickname for your meeting, then you can share that with other people. If they are within your organization, they can enter in the same code to join a meeting with you. Now remember that spaces don't matter when you're putting in this name, so my meeting is the same thing as my space meeting. The Google Layout feature allows you to control the number of participants you see. The number of tiles may change depending on the size of your browser. At the bottom right of your screen, click on the ellipses menu and select Change the Layout. From here, you can change your layout options. Auto is the default option. Meet will try to optimize your display based on your screen size and resolution. Tiled view can show up to 49 people at the same time. By default, you'll see 16 tiles on your screen. Use the slider at the bottom to control the number of tiles you want to see. The Spotlight view shows the active speaker or shared screen. So if somebody is sharing a screen or is the active speaker, they will take up the whole screen. Sidebar shows the active speaker or the shared screen as the main image. Thumbnails of a few other participants are along the side. Your preferred layout is save between Meet sessions, but the number of tiles reverts back to the default setting at the start of every meeting. For now, I'm going to use the tiled setting. In the upper right hand corner, you can control if your tile is shown in the tiled layout. Click on the Remove Tile option to show or hide your own tile in the screen. This does not affect what other people see in their own Meet sessions. Pinning allows you to view a specific person in the layout. Mouse over the person you want to highlight and then click on the pin icon to pin them in the layout. You can also unpin them there. Another option is to pin or unpin somebody from the People tab. From the People tab, find the ellipses menu and then click on Pin to Screen. Similar to pinning, you can mute a participant from the tile layout or the People tab. For privacy reasons, you cannot unmute another person. If you mute a phone participant, they can unmute themselves by pressing *6. The meeting organizer can remove somebody from the call. You can remove them from the tile or from the top right pane, click the People tab. Click on the ellipses menu and select Remove. You can also remove somebody who is called in from their phone. If a participant is removed from the meeting, they cannot request to join the meeting again. The meeting organizer can manually invite them back into the meeting. This is especially relevant to teachers that are using a Meet generated using Google Classroom. If you boot a student from your Meet session, you will need to manually invite them back before they can rejoin your online class. By default, participants can send text messages to each other using the chat feature. From the upper right hand corner, click on the Chat tab, then use the text field at the bottom to send a message to everybody in the meeting. Education users can enable or disable chats by flipping the toggle switch in the chat window, or you can control the chat features by using the host controls. Presenting allows you to show your screen to participants. In the bottom right corner, click Present Now. Presenting your entire screen will show everything you have on your screen. Any open windows or messy desktop will be visible. Presenting a window will show the selected application. For example, if you share the Chrome browser, all of the tabs in the browser will be visible. Sharing a specific tab allows you to share audio with your participants. This is needed if you want to watch a video with audio. To share a tab, select the one from the list you want your participants to see. Highlight it and then click the Share button. While you're sharing a tab, you're going to see a reminder at the top showing you that this tab is currently visible to your participants. You can click the Stop button to end sharing at any time. While presenting a Chrome tab, you can switch to another tab by clicking the Share this tab instead button. Your camera is still visible if your camera is turned on. You will appear to be in the meeting twice. One tile will show your camera, while the second will show your screen. To stop presenting, click the Stop Presenting button. You can use host controls to prevent others from sharing their screen. Click the host controls near the bottom of the screen and disable the Share Their Screen option. The recording feature is available to paid users. Free education and personal accounts are not able to record meetings. Recording also only works if you're on a computer. Meet recording needs to be enabled by your system administrator. Admins typically allow teachers but prevent students from recording meetings. To begin recording, click the ellipses menu and select Record Meeting. Meet reminds you to ask for consent before recording. It's considered polite and best practice to inform participants before you record. The Meet will start recording a few moments after clicking Accept. You will see a red recording indicator in the upper left corner of the screen. Pinning a participant while recording does not show up in the recording. Captions are also not seen in the recording. The recording is stored under your My Drive in a folder named Meet Recordings. The file will be available a few minutes after you finish the meeting. You will receive an email with a link to the recording file. The link is also added to the calendar event if you schedule this through Google Calendars. You can also share the recording from your Drive like any other file in Drive. Click the Share button to create a shareable link. To stop recording, click the ellipses menu, then click the Stop Recording button. This will give you a reminder that your Meet recording will be found in your Google Drive, then confirm to stop the recording. Let's have a look at captions. From the ellipses menu, click Turn on Captions. Presently, live captions are only available in English. Captions do not appear in the recording. When you're done with captions, click the ellipses menu again to turn them off. You can filter noise to limit distractions. Noises such as typing, closing of a door, and road noise can be removed. It tries to filter out sounds that don't sound like voices. So voices from background TV or other people talking are not filtered. To enable this feature, click the ellipses menu and then click Settings. Under Audio, enable the noise cancellation feature. Blurring is another tool to limit distractions and add some level of privacy to meetings. To enable blurring background, click on the ellipses menu and select Turn on Background Blur. You also have the option to enable blurring before you join a meeting. Some users may notice that blurring is not available. This is because there are system requirements such as hardware acceleration and minimal browser versions. Older Chromebooks, for example, may not have this option available. Jamboard is a visual dry erase board that is part of the G Suite platform. The tool is integrated with Google Meet and you can launch it from the ellipses menu. You can start a new whiteboard or choose an existing one from your Google Drive. The Jamboard file is opened in a new tab and the link is shared to the participants in the chat window. Meet will prompt you to share the Jamboard with the meeting participants. You can choose to allow them to view or edit the Jamboard. I have a separate tutorial on Jamboard. I'll link to it at the end of the video and in the description below. Breakout Rooms allows your participants to work in small groups while being online. From the Activities menu, select Breakout Rooms. Choose the number of rooms you want to launch. You can have up to 100. Participants will be randomly and equally assigned across rooms. You can drag people between rooms or type in their names and pull them into a room. The Open Room buttons will launch the breakout rooms. Students are prompted that they're entering the rooms. You will see participants leave the meeting and re-enter as they enter the rooms. As a moderator, you can hop between rooms to interact with your participants. While you're in the breakout room, you can hear from and chat with students in the room. However, you will not be able to hear or chat with people in other breakout rooms. As the moderator, you can edit breakout rooms while they're active. Click on the pencil icon to go to edit mode. From here, you can change the name of a breakout room, or you can drag students between rooms. Then click the save button to update your breakout rooms. To end breakout rooms, click the Close Rooms button. This will prompt you to confirm, so do that by clicking Close All Rooms Now. Participants will see a message confirming that they are being returned to the main room. The Q&A feature allows participants to ask questions during the meeting. To turn on Q&A, click the Activities icon to open the Activities panel. Select the Q&A feature, then click Turn on Q&A. Participants see a notification that Q&A is open and can post questions using the Ask a Question button. The moderator can hide or unhide a question, mark it as answered, or delete a question. Questions can be sorted by the moderator to show the oldest, the newest, or most popular questions. Participants can upvote questions to help the moderator know which questions are popular. After a meeting, the moderator is emailed a questions report. The report includes any questions asked along with the names of the participants. Using the polls feature in Google Meet, the moderator allows participants to vote on a question. After the meeting, the moderator is emailed a report which includes the names and the answers of the participants. To create a poll, click on Activities and select Polls. Click Start a Poll to enter a question, then enter your options. You can save the poll for later or click Launch. Optionally, you can let participants see the poll results. Click Launch to open the poll for your participants. On the participant side, they can see that the poll is live, put in their answer, and submit their vote. Then they can watch as others submit their votes. To close a poll, click End the Poll. Then as the moderator, you can review the final results. Attendance reports are enabled by default. G Suite admins cannot disable this feature. Any call with at least 5 participants will trigger an email to the event organizer with an attached CSV report. CSV stands for comma separated values and is a text file that can be opened in Google Sheets or Excel. The report includes the participant's name, email, and length of time they were on the call. If someone joins and leaves multiple times during the meeting, the overall time is included on the report. Thank you for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Have a look at some of the other tutorials I have available on this channel. Let me know if I can help.